Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Erik Voss, and this is a breakdown of the complete history of Jurassic Park and everything you need to know headed into Jurassic World Rebirth. I'll be your Mr. DNA as we go back through this franchise so that you can go right into Rebirth, even if you don't remember whether it was Fallout Kingdom or Final Minion that had the locusts in it, or if you didn't know that the titles were actually Fallen Kingdom and Dominion. Gotcha. And be sure to check out nerdriot.shop, where we have some great Jurassic Park inspired designs on shirts and hoodies like Dino Danger, and grabbing one of these is the best way to support us at New Rockstars. All right, a bit of in-universe background here. John Hammond was born in the year 1913 and pursued a lifelong dream of wanting to recreate a magical flea circus for people. At some point in his adulthood, he met Benjamin Lockwood, and in the year 1986 created a company called InGen. This was a year after they acquired an island off the coast of Costa Rica called Isla Sorna, and would later acquire a nearby island called Isla Nublar. But our story begins in the movie Jurassic Park, which came out in 1993 and is set in the same year. Steven Spielberg directed the film from a script by David Koepp and Michael Crichton, based on Crichton's 1990 novel. Industrialist John Hammond, founder and CEO of InGen, or as we will discover later, co-founder with Benjamin Lockwood, has created a theme park full of cloned dinosaurs on Isla Nublar. Working for Hammond is a scientist named Dr. Henry Wu, played by B.D. Wong, who extracted dinosaur DNA from a mosquito trapped in amber, and by splicing those DNA fragments with modern animals like frogs and lizards and other reptiles and amphibians, they were able to reverse engineer dinosaurs that way. Since this park has had past security issues, from the very difficult to contain velociraptors leading to some costly lawsuits from grieving families of workers, John Hammond reassures his investors by recruiting paleontologists Dr. Alan Grant, Sam Neill, and Dr. Ellie Sattler, Laura Dern, who have worked at dig sites, scaring the crap out of one particular kid, and they go along with eccentric mathematician and chaos theorist Dr. Ian Malcolm, Jeff Goldblum, and attorney Donald to tour the park and endorse it. Also visiting the park at this time is Hammond's grandchildren, Lex, Ariana Richards, and Tim, Joseph Mazzello, both of whom take quite a liking to Alan. Also working for Hammond is game warden Muldoon, chief engineer Ray, and computer programmer Dennis Nedry, whom Hammond underpays, leading Nedry to make a deal with Louis Dodgson. We got Dodgson here, who works for InGen's corporate rival BioSyn. Nedry sabotages the park's security system so that he can steal frozen dinosaur embryos, and this, combined with other malfunctions in a tropical storm, causes the tour groups to get stuck on the track while the dinosaurs escape their enclosures, starting with the T-Rex outside of its paddock. It's one of the scariest and best scenes in film history, and I analyzed this entire film over on our deep dive channel. In that video, I actually talked about how Steven Spielberg softened Hammond from the greedy villain that he is in Crichton's book, giving the character a sympathetic flea circus monologue, because Spielberg saw himself in the character as a bringer of thrills and magic to the world, specifically casting Richard Attenborough in the role, who had beaten Steven Spielberg at the 1983 film's Oscars. Nedry gets killed by a Dilophosaurus, and his samples get buried in mud. The lawyer dies, Ray dies, Muldoon dies, but Alan makes it back with the kids. The kids get stalked by velociraptors in the kitchen, but they're all saved by the Tyrannosaurus Rex, later referred to as Rexy, who chomps the raptor so hard one of them disappears for a frame. Cue banner when dinosaurs rule the earth. And by the end of that film, it's agreed that Jurassic Park should be shut down, but off-screen, Dodgson is successful in retrieving the stolen embryos and will go on to become the CEO of BioSyn. Between Jurassic Park and its sequel, Ian Malcolm will make public testimony about InGen's cloning experiments and the failure of Jurassic Park. However, the company discredits him as he has no proof that living dinosaurs even exist. On to The Lost World Jurassic Park, also directed by Steven Spielberg and also written by David Koepp, based on Crichton's follow-up novel from 1995, The Lost World. It's now the year 1997, when a British girl vacationing with her family on Isla Sorna is attacked by a group of Compsognathus, leading John Hammond's nephew, Peter Ludlow, to oust him and take control of InGen. The company's second facility, Site B on Isla Sorna, was where the dinosaurs were originally cloned, but it was abandoned during a hurricane years earlier. Ludlow wants to exploit the Isla Sorna dinosaurs to save InGen as a company, so Hammond reconnects with Ian Malcolm to document the dino's existence so that the public won't interfere with them. Ian decides to go because his girlfriend, Dr. Sarah Harding, Julianne Moore, a behavioral paleontologist, is already on the island, and he wants to get her out of there. Joining Ian are Vince Vaughn as Nick and Richard Schiff as Eddie, and Ian's daughter, Kelly, who hides in the trailer. They end up rescuing an infant T-Rex. Big mistake, because now its parents show up and nearly kill all of them, and they end up doing it for Eddie. Oh, R.I.P. The groups of scientists and the bounty hunters have to work together, but they all get ambushed by velociraptors. The survivors get off the island and end up going to San Diego, where Ludlow plans to have a new park on the mainland. But the ship containing the Tyrannosaurus Rex crashes into the docks, and the T-Rex rampages around San Diego. They use the baby to lure the adult, and Malcolm tranks it, and all the dinosaurs are taken back to Isla Sorna, where it's declared as a nature reserve. InGen, at this point, is bought by the Masrani Corporation off-screen, and they are also forced to agree to stop all of its genetic cloning experiments. On to Jurassic Park III in 2001, directed by Joe Johnston Johansson, longtime Lucasfilm artist, who before this directed Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and Jumanji, and then after this would go on to direct Captain America: The First Avenger for Marvel Studios. Alan Grant is back in the mix when he's approached by Paul and Amanda Kirby, a seemingly wealthy couple, asking for a tour of Isla Sorna, who are actually not that rich, and they're divorced and just looking for their son, Eric! A name that's going to be screamed 20 times, making this guy regret having that name when he was in middle school.
Are you all right? Eric! Thing is safe. We tell you.
Eric! 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 Eric!
Poor Eric got lost while parasailing with Amanda's dumb boyfriend, Ben. Isla Sorna looks very different in this film because they shot in Hawaii instead of Northern California, where they shot The Lost World. The group's plane is attacked by a Spinosaurus, which annoyingly defeats a Tyrannosaurus in this movie. Alan finds Eric still alive, and the humans are hunted by the Spinosaurus and Velociraptors and Pteranodons. Alan, who began this movie dreaming about a talking raptor, uses his 3D printed raptor larynx to confuse the raptors, and the surviving humans are able to escape. Now, after Jurassic Park III, the series went on a bit of a hiatus. But when it returned with Jurassic World in 2015, several events had happened in universe. The Jurassic World Amusement Park opened on Isla Nublar, the location of the original Jurassic Park, in the year 2005. The park once again featured dinosaurs cloned by Dr. Henry Wu, the man who was behind the original cloning experiments for InGen. After several years of peaceful operations of the park, the public was growing bored with Jurassic World. So in 2012, the CEO of the Masrani Corporation, Simon Masrani, orders Dr. Wu to create a new creature to serve as a PR stunt and attraction, and 3 years later he succeeded, which takes us directly to the events of Jurassic World in 2015. Directed by Colin Trevorrow, and this movie would go on to become the highest grossing movie ever released by Universal Studios, which is why we are still getting sequels for it now. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes of a new Rockstars production that you don't see, and a surprising amount of it is us just talking about food. We have not one, but 2 dedicated food Slack channels. We love food, but when you don't have the time to cook, it can be hard to make sure that the food you eat is food that you love, unless you use Factor. Factor has made chef-made gourmet meals that make eating deliciously and eating well easy. They're dietitian approved and ready to eat in 2 minutes. Factor can help you feel your best all day long with wholesome smoothies, breakfasts, grab-and-go snacks, and more add-ons. Factor takes the stress out of meal planning and sets you up for success. You get to skip all the shopping and chopping and instead get chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. Factor meals are always fresh, never frozen, and there are over 35 meals to choose from per week, including options like keto, calorie smart, vegan, and veggie, and more. I had the veggie tomato risotto a few nights ago and it was really good. Just the perfect level of that tomatoey bite with the risotto to sponge it up. Just really good, and it was ready in 2 minutes. Head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code 50Rockstars to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first Factor box. That's code 50Rockstars at factor75.com to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. Henry Wu has completed the work on the Indominus Rex. Designed to re-spark public interest in the park, the Indominus Rex was a mutant dinosaur composed of DNA from many different species, including the Tyrannosaurus Rex and the Velociraptor, and even cuttlefish, which enabled the Indominus Rex to camouflage itself. This marks a big departure in the franchise, as it's the first time we've seen dinosaurs created specifically for the movie, fictitious dinosaurs that were not based on fossils or other historical findings. This is especially relevant as in the new film, Jurassic World Rebirth, we are once again getting a genetically mutated monstrosity, the Distoris Rex. In an interview with Vanity Fair, director Gareth Edwards said that the D-Rex and other mutant dinos we'll see in the new film were other failed experiments created during attempts to create the Indominus Rex and the Indoraptor. So even 10 years later, we are still seeing the effects of Dr. Wu's genetic tampering. Jurassic World follows the Velociraptor trainer and handler Owen Grady, Chris Pratt, and his favorite raptor Blue, and park operations manager Claire Deering and her visiting nephews Zach and Gray, who get stuck with Claire's poor assistant Zara, who gets a horrifying death via pterosaurs and a mosasaurus after a delightful Jimmy Buffett cameo. This chaos is caused by the Indominus Rex breaking out of its paddock and into other enclosures, freeing the Pteranodons and Dimorphodons, causing all attacking the park visitors. Security Chief Vic Hoskins, Vincent D'Onofrio, sends the raptors out to try to hunt the Indominus, but since the Indominus has raptor DNA, it becomes their alpha. Simon Masrani tries to retain the Indominus, but ends up dying in a helicopter crash. Claire releases Rexy and runs from Rexy in her heels to lure Rexy to fight the Indominus, and Blue teams up with Rexy, cornering the Indominus at the edge of the lagoon, where the Mosasaurus grabs it. Nom 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 nom. Jurassic Jurassic World is shut down, and Isla Nublar is once again abandoned. But 6 months later, shown in the opening scene of Fallen Kingdom, a mercenary team leads a submersible to Isla Nublar and gets attacked by the Tyrannosaurus Rex and the Mosasaurus, the latter breaking free to the open ocean, and this big old boy will return in Jurassic World Rebirth. Claire at this point has left InGen, and by 2017 she founded the Dinosaur Protection Group, an agency dedicated to protect the stranded dinosaurs on Isla Nublar and abroad. So now we are at 2018's Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, directed by J.A. Bayona. Mount Sibo, a volcano, is about to erupt on Isla Nublar. Dr. Ian Malcolm testifies before the Senate that they should let those dinosaurs die. Dr. Hammond's old partner and InGen co-founder Benjamin Lockwood, played by James Cromwell, recruits Claire and Owen to help relocate those poor dinosaurs to Lockwood Sanctuary in Northern California. The team includes Franklin, a former park tech, and paleo veterinarian Zia, and a mercenary led by Wheatley. Yes, this guy, Silence of the Lambs. They get to the island, they find Blue, and they get some dinosaurs away as the volcano erupts, but they leave one sad Brachiosaurus on the docks. And it's so sad. We learn that Lockwood pursued human cloning to replace his dead daughter, which led to the creation of Maisie, a human clone of his dead daughter Charlotte. Weirder still, Charlotte not only provided the DNA for Maisie, but also carried and birthed her, meaning she birthed her own clone. Lockwood gets betrayed and murdered by his business partner Eli Mills, and Mills plans to auction these dinosaurs out of Lockwood Manor, including Dr. Wu's latest creation, the Indoraptor, a dinosaur created by splicing raptor DNA into the Indominus Rex from the last movie, even though that one already had raptor DNA. Okay, the Indoraptor gets free and goes on a rampage throughout the manor, but it gets soloed by Blue. Mills gets devoured by Rexy, who is now definitely the true star of this franchise. Claire, Owen, and Maisie all escape the manor as well, and as the chaos erupts and the auction guests are all attacked by the just-freed dinosaurs, by the end of the film, the dinos have now spread out from Lockwood Manor all around the world, and Dr. Ian Malcolm declares the beginning of the Neo-Jurassic period. Now, 1 year after the events of Fallen Kingdom was a 10-minute short film directed by Colin Trevorrow called Battle at Big Rock. That's actually really good and definitely worth watching if you have some time. But now we're gonna move on to Jurassic World Dominion, which came out in 2022. This is 4 years after the events of Fallen Kingdom, and we are now in a world where dinosaurs live alongside humans and other animals as part of our ecosystem. Owen and Claire are keeping Maisie safe from BioSyn, the company behind the theft of the dinosaur embryos all the way back in the first film. And Dodgson is back as CEO, now played by Campbell Scott. Also returning are Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler and Dr. Ian Malcolm. Henry Wu is also still here because of all the actors in this franchise. BD Wong has been the most reoccurring actor. Dr. Wu regrets having created yet another genetic atrocity, this time a swarm of giant locusts, and loosed them on the world at the behest of Dodgson, because BioSyn creates genetically engineered crops as well, so they designed this locust that would eat all other crops, not theirs. So the old cast and the new cast all team up to stop BioSyn's engineered locust plague, and they succeed. Rexy also makes a return in this film and gets a kill on the Gigantosaurus and meets Buck and Doe, the T-Rexes from Lost World. Jurassic World Rebirth is now set 5 years after the events of Dominion, so we're now kind of in the future, in a film directed by Gareth Edwards, who directed Godzilla and Rogue One, and written by returning screenwriter David Koepp. Earth's environment has largely proven inhospitable to the remaining populations of dinosaurs and other de-extinct prehistoric animals. The surviving creatures now reside in remote tropical locations reminiscent of the environments where they once flourished. Zora Bennett, played by Scarlett Johansson, a covert operative, is recruited by Parker Genix, a pharmaceutical company represented by Martin Krebs, played by Rupert Friend, to collaborate with paleontologist Dr. Henry Loomis, Jonathan Bailey, who has been teased to be an important character back to the earlier films of the franchise, and team leader Duncan Kincaid, played by Mahershala Ali, all on a top secret mission. The island they go to is a forbidden island in the Atlantic Ocean used in the past by InGen as a dinosaur research facility, and their goal is to find the 3 largest remaining prehistoric species from land, sea, and air to create a revolutionary drug to save countless human lives. There's also the shipwrecked civilian family, the Delgados, because a core part of the DNA of all Jurassic Park and Jurassic World movies is a family of innocents who are just in the wrong place at the wrong time, because all dinos are like, them kids. Among these discoveries is the deformed mutant Tyrannosaurus Rex with 6 limbs called a Distoris Rex, and this film will contain a long-awaited raft sequence from Crichton's 1990 novel that was originally storyboarded for the 1993 film. So that's a general recap of, I think, everything you need to know going into this film, and if you have time to rewatch any before going into Jurassic World Rebirth, I would recommend watching, of course, Steven Spielberg's 1993 Jurassic Park. It's a summer classic. You should watch it every year, as well as 1997's Lost World. And then, sure, watch 2015's Jurassic World, just just to get a sense of the weird places this franchise goes in the sequel era. But of those, that plus the battle at Big Rock are really, I think, the only ones you need to watch. Comment down below with your thoughts, and a special thanks to one of our YouTube members, Cameron, who supports us at the executive producer level. Follow me at EA Voss and subscribe to all the channels in the new Rockstars network for breakdowns and news coverage of everything you love. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Roar! Which is dinosaur for bye-bye.